Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. And I want to say thank you guys so much for being here, for having fun with me, for really just joining me on this journey as we affirm the truth of who we are. So thank you so much for being here. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Shauna, Dan, Lauren. It is just really good to see you guys today. Yeah, we're gonna have a really fun day today. It is Monday, and honestly, most of the world is just kind of starting to gear up to get things done for the upcoming week. People are making their plans. People are deciding what we're going to accomplish, and the whole world around us is starting to focus on the week ahead. Of course, my question of the day is what cool thing happened this weekend? Of course, I had a crazy cool ceremony this weekend that many of you guys are aware of. But yeah, it was an amazing weekend. I got to run an event that I was just surrounded by incredibly beautiful, wonderful people, and I'm just so grateful for that. This whole weekend was really cool. It felt like, man, it just felt like it went on and on and on. And I had to work 3 days of my 4 day weekend, and it still felt like it just went on and on and on and on. And so yeah, I feel like I had a great weekend. So many cool things happened. So yeah, my life is awesome, and I know that your life is awesome too. And that's why we're here. We're here because awesome people hang out with other awesome people, and we are here to really affirm that for ourselves and in ourselves. So yeah, we're going to pull some cards this week. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card. We're going to respond together out loud. I am that affirmation. As we do that, we are really building these thought patterns into ourselves. And so it should be an awesome time. I know. So yeah. Hey, Lauren, it's so cool that you went to the riverfront lighting of trees in Daytona Beach. What a neat thing to do this weekend. Yeah. So if you guys had anything cool that happened this weekend, I'd love to hear about it. Until then, let's go and revisit these cards. Now, I actually, many of you guys know I have a printed out copy, a printed out deck of these things, and I have lots of the physical versions of these, and I used to actually pull them by literally pulling them off the top of the deck and seeing what came up for the day. I started doing digital versions because they work a little bit easier for overlays. But I was talking with Pepper, and she's like, it'd be really fun to just go back and revisit all of the original cards, and so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Before the year is out, I'm going to revisit all of the originals, and so this week I've actually picked some of my favorites, and we're going to revisit those. So I'm going to pull a card. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and we are going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. As we use these powerful, potent words, I am, we are affirming that we are right now, that in this now moment, we embody these traits. And that allows us to embody them when life gets hard, when things get tough, when stuff doesn't go our way, we can embody these traits too. So let's have some fun. Let's pull a card and say that today I am brilliant. I am brilliant. My inner light shines in dark places. So I am brilliant. My inner light shines in dark places. Are you brilliant? You are brilliant. Your inner light shines in dark places. And I'm going to write that down into the comments. I encourage you guys to do so as well. As we turn these words into written down words, we actually have to engage different parts of our brain. So my inner light shines in dark places. I often hear the word brilliant to be being used to describe people who are intelligent, or people who are just uncommonly smart in certain ways. But brilliance isn't about that so much as it's about just shining a light. And that's what we do. We are brilliant people. We shine a light in dark places. You are a brilliant person. If you weren't brilliant, you wouldn't be in my life. Just know that the people around me are brilliant, are shining beacons, and are leading the way forward, illuminating the path for others to follow. That's what we do. That's the kind of folks that I hang around with. We are brilliant people. Our inner light shines in dark places. And brilliance is about so much more than just being smart. Brilliance is about Brilliance is about having an illuminating effect when life gets foggy, when we aren't entirely sure what to do, what to where to go, who we're going to be in any given moment. Our brilliance shines and lights the way. And so that's exactly how we work. Our inner light. And the inner light that we have comes from the thoughts that we think, the words that we tell ourselves. Somebody paid me a very good compliment once. They got to know me a little bit, and then they said, Paul, you clearly say good things to yourself. And I realized, it was like, wait, what an insightful comment that was. I realized that I do in general say good things to myself, and because of that, that's really what they were picking up on. Gene wants a story. I can absolutely tell you guys a story. So I'll tell you a story about a time when somebody was truly brilliant for me. This happened, oh, quite quite a long time ago. Okay, so I was in Costa Rica, and I I met a guy who made his entire life was studying coffee. He was an artist. He was a very famous artist at some point in the back in the 80s and the 70s, and he was just touring Europe and selling art. And his main thing was that he had invented a process of developing sepia tone photographs with coffee. So he could we could take a piece of film, expose an image to his special paper, cover it with coffee, and then it would come out sepia toned. One of the most brilliant people I've ever met, mad scientist type. And I remember just talking to him, and we were in his museum. It was after hours. We were having a cup of coffee in his museum, and we were just kind of chatting about life. And the way that he was talking about life at the time, I was going up into the mountains. I was pulling away from society at that point, and I really needed some guidance. And I there weren't too many people who spoke English in that part of the world. And so I would hang out and chat with anybody who spoke English, and he spoke English and Spanish very well. And I was talking to him about how I was kind of retreating up into the mountains because I needed to find myself, because I didn't know who I really was. And he was just so poetic in his descriptions about. He said, he's like, I went up into the mountains earlier on in life when I was a younger man, when I was your age. He's like, I went up into the mountains too. And he said, I didn't go up into the mountains in a literal way like you are, because I was literally living on top of a mountain at that time. He said, but I withdrew from the world because I wanted to know who I really was, so that I could live in accordance with my dreams, with the things that are most important to me. And I remember just listening to him, and just the way that he spoke, and the fact that English wasn't his first language really made him very artistic in his word choice. I have a friend here at Paradise, Sapita, who English is not her first language, but she speaks it so eloquently, and it's a joy to hear. But he was talking about how he did the thing that I did, and he said to me, he's like, one day you're going to want to come down from the mountains. He said, when you do, like, you're going to have to take that light that that vision that you cast for yourself, and you're going to have to take that to a larger audience, to the larger world, to the world around you. And at the time, I really was very focused on myself. I was very focused on just kind of surviving and learning how to love me. And it really shocked me when he said that, because I didn't think that I was particularly insightful. I didn't think I had all that much to offer the world. Quite frankly, at that time in my life, I felt like I was pretty much just hiding from the world. I didn't like my life. That's why I was living on top of a mountain in Costa Rica. If I liked myself, I wouldn't have been living there. I'd have been surrounded by other people that like me and that I like. But at the time, I was very much a loner. And he told me, he said, you're going to have to, he's like, you're going to go up there, and you're going to have a good time. He said, but just be aware that it's not a permanent thing for you. And at the time, I was very much convinced that I was never, ever going to come back come back up to the United States, that I was just going to just live abroad forever. He's like, nope. He's like, you're eventually going to get tired of it. And when that happens, you're going to have to take all of the perspectives that you got, all of the wisdom that you attained from sitting on top of that mountain by yourself. You're going to bring that to others. And I realize, as life has gone on, that that's exactly what has happened, and that a lot of the perspectives that I share are perspectives that have come from years of meditating on stuff. And so we are. What am I a brilliant person because I'm especially smart? And other people tell me I'm especially smart, but I feel like I'm pretty silly sometimes. But it's not so much about being smart. It's about illuminating dark places. And places are dark, not just because if places are dark because there's no light in them. And so when we go to the places, we bring the light, and we bring the light of our experience. We bring the light of our perspectives. So when we are out doing things, sometimes I get the idea that the nature walk that I'm going on isn't valuable, or that the solitary time that I'm spending just with myself, just thinking about things, is not productively spent. But then I get some kind of an insight. And that insight is for me, yes, it is. But then that insight tends to manifest itself in the way that I act, not necessarily the advice that I give people, because I understand that for the most part, people aren't looking for advice, but the way that I act. And I tend to learn from the brilliance of others, not when they are expounding their brilliant wisdom on me, but when they are just doing their ordinary life. I get to watch that, and I get to see the way that they handle things. And that is their inner light shining in the dark places that are inside of me, illuminating the parts of me that I haven't discovered yet. Each and every one of us is a beautiful person. We all have incredible brilliance inside of us. And it is our job, it is our responsibility as adults to really polish the facets of the gemstones that are inside of us. And sometimes we don't think we have anything inside of us that's really all that brilliant, and so we don't even think to polish those things. But somebody else comes along and they notice it inside of us, and then they polish it for us. And then they help us to shine, help us to be brilliant. At the ceremony that I did yesterday, I had two people to thank, and both of whom really, their inner light shone in my dark places and helped me to understand more about myself. So I am brilliant today. You are brilliant too. I hang out with brilliant people, and our inner light shines in dark places. I want to say thank you guys so much for being here, having fun with me. Thank you, Brenda Jean, for reminding me of that story of my friend in Costa Rica. His name is Saul Bolaños. Really, really cool guy. But he taught me a lot about life just from sitting in his museum after hours, enjoying a cup of coffee, and having him show me how his photoreactive paper worked. And it's just super cool to be a part of that. So thank you for reminding me of that story, Brenda Jean. Thank you for reminding me of the time when somebody shared their brilliance with me, because it allows me to share the brilliance that's inside of me with others. And that's exactly what we all do. So we are all brilliant people, and we are all shining our light in dark places. So this card is our permission slip today to find people and to recognize when the people around us have something inside of them that could benefit from the things that we've already learned and the ways that we've already learned to be. And our job is not to lecture them. It's not to be their teacher. Our job is simply to live our lives and to allow that inner light to permeate the spots in other people where they are not yet fully developed, where they also have the ability to live their lives and be themselves more to the fullest. So thank you guys so much for being here. I love you. I care about you. And I will come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. with another card. As I said before, I'm going to go through all 36 of these original cards. And before the year is over. So you will see, if you have one of my physical decks, you'll actually see cards that you have a physical copy of. They are going to be coming up on the screen before the end of the year. So I'm pretty excited about that. So anyways, thanks guys so much for being here, for having fun with me. And like I said, I love you. I care about you. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Aloha.